Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
As you see me as your father, I'll be your father for those of you that don't have a father. He said, if you see me as your savior, I'll be your savior. He said, even so, if you see me as your God, I'll be your God.
Mainstream media is a cult that, according to Gallup, Americans' trust and confidence in the mass media to report the news fully, accurately, and fairly has dropped to its lowest level in Gallup polling history, with 32% saying they have a great deal or fair amount of trust in the media. This down 8 percentage points from last year. Generally, cult leaders like Jim Jones of Jonestown or Marshall Applewhite of Heaven's Gate manipulated their gullible followers to their dooms by controlling the initiate's ability to utilize critical individual thought, starkly at odds with the freedoms guaranteed to all Americans by the Constitution.
One of the powerful things that Jim used to keep us to not think was that we were never really allowed to speak with one another. I'd look around and I'd say, am I the only one that feels this way? I learned eventually not to say anything to anyone.
It was designed for a person not to think for themselves. It was designed that you give your will over to what appeared to be a benevolent being who was taking you through a process that would help you come out the other side.
Furthermore, any semblance of journalistic integrity existing in mainstream media has long been hijacked by the CIA's creeping propaganda infiltration of the media since Operation Mockingbird in the 1950s, morphed into the raging mind control operation it is today, inhabiting your household idiot box. A monstrosity fully unchained after propaganda was essentially legalized in 2013. And now that cult would have us all believe that Trump's pick for a senior counselor position is a white nationalist.
Whether Steve Bannon's a white nationalist and an anti-Semite, I'm glad that we've put that myth to bed. Now let's move on to talking about the country.
I don't think we put that myth to bed. I think that's still a question about it. Just because you say it, it doesn't mean that he's not. And I don't know that he is.
Just because I don't know what it is doesn't mean I'm lying.
You guys can't throw out lies like that and ask me to prove a negative when you can't even prove the positive. You know, your network had a commentator the other night who said that the vote for Donald Trump was a white lash. Now, are you a black nationalist network because Van Jones said that there was a white lash?
This was a white lash.
Breitbart's Steve Bannon, the man fronting an organization that the corporocratic criminals in D.C. feared enough to allegedly cause its namesake and founder, Andrew Breitbart, to reach an early demise, a publication with its fingers squarely on the pulse of the nation's dysfunctional criminal government is suddenly reduced to a neo-Nazi zine by the sycophantic New World Order press. What is a white nationalist anyway? White nationalism is steeped in white supremacy and the radical un-American notion of a white-only state. And good luck with that. This country is full of mutts. So according to the mainstream media, Steve Bannon is essentially a Klan leader, and the proof is vaguely racist headlines that question the failing policies of the outgoing liberal administration that blatantly ignored the U.S. Constitution and our immigration laws that exist solely to protect the average American citizen. Bannon is actually a former naval officer who became a media executive and described his role at Breitbart as virulently anti-establishment, particularly anti the permanent political class. Sounds like populism and individualistic thought to me. Of course, if you're a member of the mainstream media cult, anything and everything is labeled as racist if you drink enough of the Kool-Aid. Not too many people are drinking it these days except the mainstream media.
The law and just say, look, stop doing violence upon other people, stop doing violence upon neighborhoods.
And a hate crime is not the same thing as protesting. We have to be very deliberate about that.
And what do you say to the people who dragged a poor white guy out of a car and beat him?
Oh my goodness, poor white people, please, oh my, stop it, Carl.
According to CNN, and I quote, white nationalist leaders are praising Donald Trump's decision to name Stephen Bannon as his chief strategist, close quote. In the same article, white nationalist leaders say they see Bannon, quote, as an advocate for policies they favor.
John Bound for Infowars.com.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You going to sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you going to be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.